In this video, I'm going to show you that you have what it takes to upgrade your mindset as you learn to change what you believe about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you. In this third part, we're going to talk about the hands in the trifecta: head, heart, and hands. In the first video, we talked about mindset in the head space, what you will need to learn and the changes you'll need to make about your mindset, the set points that you've established, and how you're using those to choose what you believe about who you are and what you can do and what's possible for you. And we mentioned how you'll never outlive or live beyond your mindset. It's like a blueprint for everything else that you do, about how you feel and how you make sense of your life experience, your earth experience, and you use that sense making to create energy in motion or emotion. And that was part 2. So we talk about head and heart in this trifecta: head, heart, and hands. When you learn to understand your emotion and how you're creating energy in motion in your thinking, in your emoting, and in your doing, you'll learn how to leverage who you are. As you better understand your natural thinking styles, your thinking strategy, and how you make sense and how you create this energy and in motion, you'll learn how to leverage it and use it towards your goals and be able to work with yourself rather than against yourself. In that second part, we had an understanding about how energy or emotion is where most people get taken out, or it's why they give up on their goals. They give up on this change. And when you mistake what you're going through in your shift, as you're making a mind shift and you're upgrading your identity and you're upgrading your mindset and you're choosing new ideas to believe about who you are and what you can do and what's possible, but you get mistaken by those old ways, and learning simple ways to remind or to renew your mind to what you're busy working towards, the new version of you. And that brings us to today. In this third part, we're going to talk about the final segment, this 3 parts of the trifecta: hands, what to do or how to do the doing part more efficiently, more effectively. If you don't take responsibility for your mindset, you won't get to this part. If you don't take a radical responsibility for your emotion and your emoting, you won't have the power to do this stuff. And here we find ourselves in part 3. It's about what will you do, and not so much the doing part, but how you do whatever it is that you're going to do next. Most people that I work with, they know what needs to get done. They know what they need to do. They even know how to do it. It's the mindset and emotion that's been out of reach for them. But now that you have this understanding, right? And now that you have a better understanding of your thinking strategies, your thinking styles, and you're learning to soften some of your beliefs and put in place more supporting beliefs and find ideas that describe you and your desires and your future more effectively for yourself. And you're rewriting with better language and better self-talk. You're rewriting the story that you tell yourself, your internal narrative, right? As you're starting to do these things, you're creating more resourceful energy, and those emotions, those energy in motion in your thinking and in your body, in your physical body, that creates an energy that you can leverage as you start to take traction with grit, with responsibility, with accountability. You see, you can't be accountable, you can't hold yourself accountable if you're not emotionally invested, if you don't have a conviction about what you're doing, or you haven't done the internal work, the thinking work, to recognize how you get yourself out of the game, or you take yourself out of the game when you do emoting. When you're trying to give an account, that's what accountability is, the ability to give an account of what you've done or not yet done, but you're blind to the emotion, it's like you're trapped. But going forward with mind shift, that's not the case anymore. You know, you don't have to be trapped anymore, because now you understand your own thinking strategy and you see your thinking style as it's playing out in front of you. And you take a chance to, or you get a chance to recognize, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how it's been for me. As I develop this real-time understanding of my own thinking, of how my neurology and the way I'm made, right, shapes how I'm thinking, not just by my conditioning, not just by my youth and my culture and my family and the neighborhood I grew up in, but my physical body and my neurology shapes how I make sense of my experiences. And where I used to create a certain set of emotions and set energy in motion in my physical body and in my heart body, which then pulled my thinking in a particular direction, I'm now getting more familiar with when those emotions start to rise up, when that energy is in motion in my body, and I can start to feel, whoa, I'm going back there again. And I can catch myself from being getting that flashback, right, to having an experience, and we spoke about this in the previous video, that I can have an experience in one particular moment in time and mistake it for another experience in a very different moment in time. And as I'm able to separate myself from the world around me, myself, my identity from what I'm busy with, what I'm doing, separating a human being and human doing mistake, the confusing human being and human doing, I'm able to recognize, oh, this is just an experience I'm having. This is an emotional experience, and I don't have to get caught up again in another time experience, an experience in another on my timeline. So I can be happy and sad now. I can have that emotion rise up in my physical body, and I can accept it for what it is, practicing that acceptance that we spoke about in the previous video. And when I can see and treat what's happening for me with innocence, right, without judgment, without measurement, and I can just like, okay, that's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling in my physical body, whether it's happiness or sadness, and I can separate what I'm feeling, my emotional experience, from what is happening, the external trigger. So it's something someone did, or something someone said, or something I experienced. I physically bumped into something, or I did something, or I didn't do something. And I can slow my thinking down, slow that system down, so I can recognize the difference between what's happening for me and what's happening within me. Then it's like I can contain that sense making and that meaning making, and I can start to see this worldly experience. It sounds woo-woo, doesn't it? This worldly experience for what it is. And when I can see it for what it is, I can choose the meaning that I make, and I can give it an appropriate emotion or emoting. And when I do this, I'm now able to do the handwork more effectively, because I'm controlling my thinking and I'm controlling my emotion. And when my mindset, my thinking, my identity is in control, and my emoting, my energy in motion is in control, I get back control of what I'm going to do next, of the decisions I'm making, the choices I'm taking, and the behavior actions I take. And this is what I want for you. As we go on this mind shift journey from who we used to be, and considering shifting our picture of what we choose to believe about what you can do, what's possible for you because of who you are, as you almost recreate, you intentionally decide to create a new version of you. And I don't mean physically create a new version, although that might take place as you find the strength in the will to stick with your commitments, perhaps with what you're eating or how you're exercising or what you're drinking. And as you start to say no with more ease to the things that were easily taking over your life, and you start to say yes with flow and ease to the things that were like just out of your reach, because the things that you're saying yes to resonate with the person that you're trying to become, that you're believing that you are becoming. And the stuff that you're saying no to resonate with the person that you're leaving behind, that kind of thinking, that kind of choice making, that kind of behavior, and that kind of that action. And when you start to do this, some other magic starts to happen, right? For me, I start to feel safe in my own skin again. As I mentioned in the last video, it's like, hey, when I see I'm able to make these choices and I take ownership of my own life back, and let me just pause right here and just say, you know what? I'm not saying life at large gets any easier. Doing this work it's not like an eraser that we get to wipe out the difficult stuff, the tough stuff, things still happen. Things still go wrong. People don't show up. People break promises. I misunderstand people. Stuff still breaks. Electricity still goes off. Laptops still don't work. However, in the journey, as I'm pursuing who I'm becoming, as I make these mind shifts, I'm changing my mindset about who I am and what I can do and what's possible for me. When I'm able to control my thinking and my emoting, it's like there's another source of energy available. You see, what was an action or a scenario that would easily take me out of the game, I would lose sense of my confidence. I'd lose sense with credibility with myself, because I would allow a simple scenario like the electricity going off to tell myself that this is the point to exit. You see, let me back off, let me give up. You say, it's not going to work. I'm out of the race. And in that moment, I lose all sense of perseverance. I lose all sense of pushing through, and I have no grit. But it's not like that anymore, because in this moment, in that moment now, with this new understanding, I'm able to see that even in that scenario, something that happens today that might have happened in exactly the same way a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, there's a new version of me showing up, right? With another way of thinking, a different perspective. I've changed my frame. I've changed my reference point. I'm arriving in that moment with a different mindset. What I believe is possible, what I believe to be true, I've shifted the corners of my tent, and I have a new set point. But not only that, I arrive with a different emotional set point. You see, when I arrive in that moment, what used to equal frustration and anger and chains and just like knock me out is now just a different level of frustration. Yes, it's frustrating, but it's just it that's frustrating. And it doesn't have to say anything about me, and I don't have to personalize. I don't have to do what's called black and white thinking, like, it's all or nothing thinking, like, okay, that went wrong, so everything's going to go wrong, so I've got no opportunity to do anything else. And if everything's going wrong and I have no opportunity, then I have no opportunity. If I have no opportunity, then I'm hopeless. And if I'm hopeless, I'm worthless. But I'm not doing that spiral anymore. I'm taking back control of my thinking, and this is what I want for you. To be able to see and recognize what's going on around you in that moment, and to be able to activate a better quality of thinking and a more resourceful choices about the meanings that you make, and which creates a different emotional energy in your body, right? That energy in motion. You see, when we change our thinking, we change the level of mind that we think from, we change the frequency, we change truly the frequency of your energy, your emotion in your physical body. And when you're in a powerful state of being, not a state of scarcity or lack, or a state of stress or pain or frustration, all those, the dark stress, the dark energies, when you're in a powerful state of being, everything changes. The quality of your thinking changes. The quality of the choices that you can make changes. And the quality of energy in your physical body starts to change as well. And in another conversation, the quality of energy that you put out into the world around you starts to change. And all of a sudden, abundance starts to recognize and resonate with you. And the things that felt out of reach, perhaps a week, a month, a year, a lifetime ago, suddenly are within reach, because again, nothing's changed, but with these changes, everything starts to change. It feels as if everything's brand new. Same scenario, same crisis, same calamity, but a different thinking and a different emoting and almost a different version of you showing up in that moment. And from that moment, being able to take different choices, to make different actions and do different behaviors, because you're infused with another quality of energy, right? With emotion, energy in motion in your body that creates a state that you're able to act from that is powerful. And with that powerful state of being, which then shapes how you think in that moment, just from one moment to the next, what was almost impossible or impassable, a moment, a scenario, that used to happen regularly in your life, and that was your limiting end, right? That was not only your limiting belief, that was your limit, that you just couldn't get past it. It was impossible. Today becomes not only impossible, but becomes just a stepping stone of your future. I start to recognize why people like Jose Silva would say that the rest of your life can be the best of your life. As you learn to access a different level of mind and you're able to access powerful states of being, choosing with intention what state you will create, a state of excellence for the task that you're busy with. As you upgrading your thinking and you're changing your mindset, the quality of your thinking and the quality of your energy in motion, your emotions, helps you change the quality of person that you show up in that moment. I think I'm repeating myself. I get really excited about this stuff. And what I want you to hear me say is that as you go forward, using this trifecta, getting the head stuff right, getting the heart stuff right, and now stepping into how to use your hands. And I mean that figuratively as well as physically. 2 F words. Figuratively as well as practically. When it's time to get your hands dirty and get things done in this new way, on this path with everything in place to support you, things get easier. Life doesn't necessarily get easier. When I say easier, I mean things start to flow. What was like really difficult, what would be an obstacle and an objection, like everything around you saying, dude, no, this isn't available to you. Suddenly, different things become available to you. And different options are what you couldn't see like weeks or months or years ago. You find yourself in that place, and it's same scenario, deep, dark, like hopeless, helpless, and suddenly you're finding opportunities to do things differently and do different things. And as you do them, you'll find that a sense of lightness. I'm finding a sense of lightness. I'm finding that even in the same physical scenario, the same current realities, what used to knock me out, what used to take me out and take me out for like maybe a day or a week or so, doesn't have that impact anymore. And yes, I have to navigate, and yes, I have to dance, but I'm becoming a different person, and I'm being able to show up with a different energy in aspects of my life. And this is what I want for you. So as we take our mindset, right, with the head, heart, and hand, our mindset, and we're learning to shape our identity, and we're taking control of our emotion, our emotional body, our emotional intelligence, our emotional literacy, and being able to choose how we show up and the meaning that we make as we do sense making in that moment to create a state in our physical body. And that mind-body relationship, that state, is the fuel that our hands sector, that our hands need to be able to take the actions required for us to become the person that we need to be when we start to change what we choose to believe about who we are, what we can do, and what's possible. Let's ground this. Like when you're trying to do a weight loss program, perhaps you're the kind of person that's like you've tried every weight loss program. I see people who have been in that same place over and over again, and suddenly it feels different because they see themselves and they're seeing through a new identity with different lenses, emotional lenses as well as thinking lenses. And when you arrive in that place, decisions that were almost impossible become possible. And with that possibility, new energy is released, and then you're able to push through and finally do the stuff that you've been trying to do for ages and ages. Or perhaps it's a skill. And I know for myself, there's some skills that have been elusive, right? And I've done the work and I've done the time, and yet it's just stumbling until I arrive as a new person with a different mindset and a different energy in motion in that moment. And suddenly things fall in place, and that skill, it's like it becomes easy, and I start to find myself flowing through that process and going from one level to the next. And perhaps it's something in your career, your business. Perhaps there's a challenge that you've been facing that you've not been able to find your way through, your thinking way through, navigate your way through, because it's every time you get there, it's just cloudy. It's confusing. There's just too much dust in the air. But when you arrive in that moment, right, as a new person, like a different version of yourself, with a quality level of mind, with a quality state, and you're upgrading your thinking about who you are, what you believe, who you believe you are, what you believe you can do, and what's possible for you, suddenly what was like a forest or a cloud, a dust storm, things start to settle. And perhaps you'll start to see things, even for the first time, that you recognize was right in front of you all along. You just weren't the person you needed to be. You weren't ready for that wisdom that was there waiting for you. And everything you need is within you. I've never understood this until this season. I'm starting to recognize how true that is. Everything we need is within us. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Everything I have, I created. Everything I have that I want and everything I have that I don't want, I recognize how my thinking and my emoting, which fueled my doing, the state that I arrive and the quality of person that I arrive and the quality, the level of mind that I used to do my thinking from and create my emotions from, those were my doing. I participated. I either consciously or subconsciously, outside of conscious, I created this reality that I experience. And I'm not suggesting that there isn't a divine or there isn't God or God isn't in control. However, God gives this life for you, to you, for you to live. And He doesn't stick His hand into your head and your heart and shake you and play you like a puppet. He ain't a puppeteer. I don't believe He's a puppeteer. I do believe He's given you everything you need to exercise quality thinking and to make sense of your world and create emotion and see that energy, the divine energy, alive in your physical body so that you can take actions, that you use your personal power to think and to emote, to feel, your powers to speak and to do as you live out your life. And in this third part, my heart, my call out to you is that it's time for you to take back your personal power and start to live out this life, because you can. With this model, this trifecta, there's 8 steps in the Mindshift 2.0 in particular, but there's stuff I'm adding to this, which I'll share in the next portion, with a better understanding of what you need to do in the headspace, and a understanding that you control your emotions, that you, with your mindset and your identity, with the way that you think, the quality of your thinking, you get to choose, you get to influence the quality, the level of mind that you operate in, and the quality of emotions that you create, the energy in motion in your earth suit, in your physical body. It's from these energies, these emotions, that we create state. It's from this state that we live, that we do, that we take action. Actually, it's from the state that influences our thinking again, and then we can go meta, we go up, and we come down into our physical body. And you get, with this mind shift, the ability to choose the quality of your thinking, the quality of your state, and the quality of your actions. As you upgrade what you choose to believe about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you, everything can start to change. Now, I want to take an opportunity to say thank you for watching this far. And I want to honor you. I want to celebrate that you're the kind of person that has stuck through this, that has listened to all 3 parts. You've been with me with part 1, and we talked about the mind space. And you stuck through to part 2, and you discovered how you can take back control of the heart space. In this head, heart, and hands trifecta, that means that you're here with me and you're ready to do something about the hand space, what you will physically do and practically do. And perhaps you've made that decision that you do want to upgrade who you are and choose to believe something different, something new, something more powerful, something magnificent about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you. And perhaps you are that person that's ready to learn how to choose your energy in motion intentionally, to create state, to create an energy that can support you and empower you to take the actions that you've been meaning to or wanting to or desiring to all along. And perhaps you're the person who's ready to take action. You got this head stuff, you've got this heart stuff, and it's ready. It's time to take action. Enough is enough. You've bought all the courses, you've got the books, you've got the coaching programs, you might even have a coach already, but there's just been something missing. Now, I want to take an opportunity to recognize that you've been with me for 3 parts. So you were with me in part 1 when we started to talk about this trifecta, this head, heart, and hands. And that means you have a good understanding now, or a working understanding of the importance of mindset, and to be able to choose what you choose to believe about who you are and start to shift your identity. And as you reorganize and coordinate your beliefs, you're starting to loosen the hold of your past, of what the old way of thinking and that old person, so that you can start to become somebody new, which means that you're able to make this shift as you change what you choose to believe about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you. It also means that you sat with me for part 2, so you have a working understanding of the importance of the headspace and energy in motion. And more than that you understand now that you create this emotion, that it's a product of your thinking, right? The product of your mindset and your identity and your speech talk, your self-talk, your internal narrative. As you, using your sense-making, create meaning about what you're experiencing in your body, you create this energy in motion. And that means that you're taking back control of your experience, of your earth suit. And that means that you're able to choose with intention the state that you can experience. And we're going to teach you how to create a state for a particular task or for a particular moment as you're working towards this new identity in your mind shift. So, part 1, part 2, if you stuck with me for part 3, you now know that you've got what it takes for the hands space, right? So head, heart, and hands, to be able to use this mindset, to use this emotion with intention as you find yourself in these moments where it's choice time, where it's decision time to take action, and to not be taken out by your old version of you and not be taken out in same scenarios, being able to arrive in that moment, in the present, with new quality of thinking and a more powerful state of being as you access a regulated level of mind to be able to choose the state that you show up in. That means that you can start to do different things or do things differently. I get so excited when I think about that, as I think about what that's meant to me. And that's important because with this understanding of mindset, of emotion, and of state in action, your ability to take action, you're now ready to craft who you want to be and to be able to do this mind shift as you upgrade what you choose to believe about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you. Because when you see that you get to decide what's possible for you, which requires a new set of beliefs about what you're able to do, that requires a different thinking, a different emotional relationship, and a cognitive thinking relationship to who you decide to believe who you are. With who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you, you can start to take this mind shift. I want to share with you something I am so excited about. A simple process to support you do this mind shift, to change what you believe about who you are, what you can do, and what's possible for you. Join me in the next video for Mindshift 2.0.